word got out that Michael Jackson, the legendary king of pop, had died. He was only 50, and it felt way too soon. The news sent shockwaves around the world, and suddenly everyone was talking about it. But here's where things get a bit eerie. There's been this persistent cloud of mystery surrounding his death that just won't go away. Fast forward to today, and it feels like we might be inching closer to uncovering some potentially massive revelations about his passing. There's this wild theory going around, and it comes straight from the comedian Cat Williams. He stirred up the pot by suggesting that MJ's death was no accident or sudden health failure. It was planned, and Michael himself knew it was coming.
And the fact of the matter is, we watched this again, right in front of our own face. And knew it was finna happen. He told us, and we didn't know. He named his last tour, This Is It.
Michael Jackson wasn't just a pop star. He was a phenomenon wrapped in enigma. Over the years, there were all sorts of rumors about him. Some said he slept in an oxygen chamber to stay young, while others claimed he was bleaching his skin to appear white. His life was under the microscope, and not always for the best reasons. And when none of those rumors managed to take him down, it seemed someone might have decided to take things to a whole other level of sinister. In 1993, Michael was in the headlines with allegations of Child M. The Los Angeles police looked into it but didn't find anything that could stick. Jackson responded to the accusations for the first time via satellite from Neverland Ranch. He denied all the allegations and stated his intent to prove his innocence. He accused the media of manipulating the allegations to reach their own conclusions and described the dehumanizing police search as the most humiliating ordeal of my life.
Before you label or condemn me, don't treat me like a criminal, because I am innocent. It was the most humiliating ordeal of my life. But if this is what I have to endure to prove my innocence, so be it.
Despite that, one family went ahead and sued him, and the case settled for a reported $20 million.
Mr. Jackson has been repeatedly advised by those who stood to make fortunes in his business affairs to pay money rather than face certain false allegations. He did pay money rather than litigate two false allegations that he had harmed children.
Then, in 2003, things got heated again. A documentary called Living with Michael Jackson showed him in some pretty questionable situations, like holding hands and discussing sleeping arrangements with a young kid. This kicked off another round of investigations, and Michael ended up being arrested on more M charges. He stood firm, calling all of it lies.
Last few weeks, a large amount of ugly, malicious information has been released into the media about me. Please keep an open mind and let me have my day in court. I deserve a fair trial like every other American citizen.
Jackson is eventually indicted on 10 criminal counts, including Child M, abduction, false imprisonment, and extortion. After being charged in late 2003 and then given additional charges the following April, Jackson is put on trial. The victim is identified as Gavin Arvizo, the young man who appeared in the documentary. He was among those who testify at the trial. Among those that testified in Jackson's defense were actor Macaulay Culkin and Wade Robson, an Australian boy who first met the megastar when he won a Michael Jackson dance contest in Brisbane. They are described as special friends of Jackson who have slept with the singer in his bed. The men deny that Jackson has touched them or otherwise acted inappropriately. Eventually, in 2005, he was acquitted of all charges in a very public trial, but his career and public image just weren't the same anymore. Things got pretty rough. Over in Dubai, they actually banned him from performing. This happened after some anonymous flyers went around calling him immoral, and that just his chances of doing a show there. Jackson was supposed to whip up a song and a video for the movie Addams Family Values, but he ended up backing out of that deal and walking away from a $5 million. There was also this whole line of fragrances that got scrapped because people were worried about his drug issues. Things got even stickier when Pepsi decided to cut ties with him on November 14, 1993. They'd been partners for almost a decade, and some of his fans were so upset that they started boycotting Pepsi. There's also this wild tidbit about him working on music for the video game Sonic the Hedgehog 3. He ended up leaving that project too, and didn't even get any credit for his work. This was all probably because those allegations just wouldn't go away. And just 4 years after his acquittal, in 2009, he was found dead in his home in Holmby Hills, California. This wasn't just a shock, it was a bombshell that left fans and critics alike reeling. And that's where the darker rumors come into play. Some folks believe that the higher-ups in the entertainment industry, who couldn't rein in his influence, might have orchestrated his demise. Let's dive into the events of June 25, 2009, a day that rocked the music world to its core. The most decorated musician in history found life lifeless in his LA pad at just 50 years old. MJ wasn't just lounging around, he was gearing up for a massive comeback with his This Is It tour. London was about to get a taste of the King of Pop, but sadly, that never happened. The news of his passing spread like wildfire, and suddenly the world seemed to stop spinning. The media went into overdrive, covering every minute detail of MJ's death. Some big shots even griped that it was overshadowing other important stuff going on in the world. So here's how it all went down. Michael's personal doc, Conrad Murray, found him unconscious after giving him some meds to help him catch some sleep. He jumps into action, starts CPR, and calls for backup. Murray's distress call to emergency services was swiftly followed by the arrival of paramedics who tirelessly worked to revive Jackson for an agonizing period of 42 minutes at his residence. Despite their relentless endeavors, the gravity of the situation became apparent as Jackson was transported to the hospital at 1:14 p.m. From there, medical professionals at the Ronald Reagan UCLA Medical Center engaged in a valiant battle to resuscitate him for over an hour. Tragically, their efforts proved futile, and Jackson was pronounced dead at 2:26 p.m. There were conflicting reports swirling around about Michael Jackson's health leading up to his untimely death. Some biographers painted a picture of a man struggling with various health issues, including insomnia, lupus, vitiligo, and low body weight. They even mentioned that his family was concerned about his well-being and had urged him to seek medical help. Additionally, there were mentions of past battles with prescription pain medication addiction, a fact confirmed by his dermatologist. However, there were also accounts from medical professionals who claimed that they had seen MJ just days before his passing, and he appeared to be in good shape both mentally and physically. And get this, members of his stage crew, who had been with him the day before his death during rehearsals, described him as healthy and full of energy. The rehearsals even went on until past midnight, and MJ spent time with fans afterward. It was only later that he began experiencing insomnia. In the early hours of June 25, 2009, MJ reached out to Dr. Murray for help with his sleep issues. The doctor administered a mix of medications to help him doze off, including Propofol, which MJ had used before for sleep. Despite multiple injections, he still couldn't drift off. By around 10:40 a.m., MJ was still wide awake, prompting Dr. Murray to give him Propofol diluted with lidocaine. Following Michael Jackson's tragic passing, a detailed autopsy shed light on concerning findings that raised eyebrows among investigators. It was revealed that the iconic musician had been administered a cocktail of potent medications, including benzodiazepines such as midazolam and lorazepam, along with Propofol, a powerful anesthetic. These substances, combined with additional doses of diazepam and Ativan, proved to be a fatal combination, underscoring the gravity of the situation. Despite the alarming presence of these substances in his system, the autopsy painted a picture of overall physical health for Jackson. Remarkably, his heart exhibited robust strength, with the only notable medical condition being a relatively inconsequential chronic inflammation in his lungs. Moreover, he maintained a healthy weight, and his pulmonary function appeared optimal, with arteries free from significant plaque buildup, save for a minor accumulation in one leg. However, the autopsy findings took a sinister turn as the Los Angeles County Department of Medical Examiner Coroner released its ruling on August 28th. Jackson's death was classified as a homicide, attributed to a lethal combination of drug intoxication, notably involving Propofol and lorazepam. Contributing to this fatal concoction were diazepam, midazolam, ephedrine, and lidocaine. Despite these revelations, the complete toxicology report remained confidential. Dr. Murray went to court on September 27, 2011. He was found guilty of involuntary manslaughter only 24 days later. His punishment was decided 5 days after he was found guilty. He was kept in jail without being allowed to pay money to leave before the trial. The jury had to think about many things before deciding if Dr. Murray was guilty. Dr. Murray said he was innocent and that he tried to help Jackson by doing CPR on him.
Your Honor, I am an innocent man. I therefore plead not guilty.
But other doctors said he did it wrong because he did it on Jackson's bed, not on a hard floor like he should have. Also, Dr. Murray only used one hand for CPR when doctors usually use two hands. He should have known this because he's a doctor. It's okay to use one hand for CPR on kids, but not on adults like Jackson. Another thing that made people angry was that Dr. Murray didn't call 911 when Jackson was in trouble. He said he didn't call because there was no phone in the house and he didn't know the address. But later, they found out he made many many calls on his phone during that time. He didn't tell anyone about these calls before. Dr. Murray stopped trying to save Jackson after only 10 minutes, but a security guard didn't call 911 until 12:21 p.m. By the time the ambulance came, Jackson didn't have a pulse. Dr. Murray said Jackson still had a pulse when the ambulance took him, but the ambulance people said Jackson's heart stopped working before they even got him to the hospital. In November 2011, Dr. Conrad was found guilty of involuntary manslaughter. He didn't have to stay with the other prisoners and was called a good prisoner by the sheriff's office. He was told to spend 4 years in jail, but he got out before that because he was good in jail. There were too many people in jail, so they let him out early. A lot of fans were very mad about this. Joe Jackson, who was Michael Jackson's father, said Dr. Murray was responsible for his son's death and tried to sue him for it in 2010, but he changed his mind and dropped the case in 2012. Then Michael's mother, Katherine Jackson, tried to sue the company Dr. Murray worked for, AEG Live, saying they were also responsible for his death, but she didn't win the case. Dr. Murray didn't want to be part of any of these court cases. Dr. Murray can't work as a doctor anymore because his licenses were taken away in the 3 states where he used to work. Lots of people were still angry and thought Dr. Murray should have been punished more. Some people made up lots of stories about what happened to Michael Jackson. One idea was that someone wanted to get rid of him on purpose, and that Dr. Murray helped them do it. People asked why a doctor like him would give so many when he knows it's dangerous. They also wondered why he didn't tell the ambulance people and other doctors about the overdose so they could help Michael Jackson. Some people think that maybe Dr. Murray was promised he wouldn't get in big trouble if he helped. They said maybe he took the job for that reason. Other people think that maybe Dr. Murray was just blamed for Michael's death, and it was really someone else's fault. They think these powerful people wanted Michael gone, and Dr. Murray was just a pawn in their plan. Now, Michael Jackson's family is still on a quest for answers about what really went down with him. Even his sister, LaToya Jackson, thinks there's something shady about how her brother died.
I truly feel that Conrad Murray is simply the fall guy. This was definitely something that was premeditated.
She says Michael told her he thought someone was after his music collection.
He explained it to me. He explained it's because of my catalog, which is my publishing, and they're after it, and they want it, and they want their hands on it, and they want to take it away from them.
And get this, it's not the first time LaToya has brought this up. She spilled the beans in an interview with CNN, straight up saying she believes Michael's death was no accident.
Because first of all, Michael told me that they were going to murder him. He was afraid. He was afraid for his life.
LaToya claims that when Michael came home that fateful night, he sensed something bad was about to happen. And lo and behold, after he passed away, some of the very people he distrusted started calling the shots with his money and stuff. LaToya didn't hold back, dropping a few names, including Dr. Tomey, who was running Michael's showbiz toward the end. Apparently, as soon as Dr. Tomey took the reins, he axed some of Michael's longtime buddies and locked everyone else out. That way, he could steer Michael's business deals in a way that lined his own pockets. Sounds like somebody had their own agenda, doesn't it? Even Michael Jackson's daughter, Paris, thinks there's something fishy about her dad's death. LaToya wrote about it in her book, Starting Over, where she talks about Paris describing her dad's last days, which were, Daddy was always cold, Daddy was always freezing, he would sit and fall by the fireplace, he would always cry, and we would watch to make sure everything was fine, and he needed a doctor, and then they turned the lights out. We were in the dark, and they cut the phones off. On Paris's description of her father's last words to her, LaToya also wrote, Prince and I were arguing, and Daddy said, stop fighting with your brother. I'm not always going to be here, and you're going to be the lady and watch over them. And Paris herself didn't hold back in an interview with Rolling Stone. When they asked her if she thought her dad's death was a setup, she didn't hesitate. She straight up said, absolutely, because it's obvious. All arrows point to that. She knows it sounds like a crazy conspiracy theory, but she swears it's the real deal. She says all the true fans and family members know it too. They all believe it was a setup. When they asked Paris who she thought might have wanted her dad gone, she didn't beat around the bush. She said, a lot of people. Paris isn't just sitting around waiting for answers, though. She's hoping one day she'll get the truth and some justice for her dad. I mean, when all these family members are saying the same thing about MJ's death, you know there's something going on. Besides the family members who've been straightforward about it being a setup, Kanye West is one of the folks who's openly hinted that his death was totally planned. We know he is always stirring up controversy with his Twitter rants, and he's got some thoughts on Michael Jackson's death too. He was like, MJ told you about Tommy before they K-worded him. Kim saved my daughter's life in the name of Jesus. It's God's choice only. I will live for my children, Chris. I'm in Cody if you're not planning another one of your children's Playboy shoots. Kanye was definitely pointing fingers at Tommy Mottola, the former CEO of Sony, who had a rocky relationship with MJ during their time working together from the '91 Dangerous album to Invincible 10 years later. MJ even called Tommy out publicly.
Tommy Mottola is the president of the record division. He is he's a, and he's very, very, very devilish.
And Tommy Mottola is a devil.
Now, Kanye's not the only one suspicious of Tommy. People say he's had beef with a bunch of folks in the music biz, not just MJ. But here's the thing. While most of those people kept quiet about it, MJ wasn't afraid to speak up. Imagine what someone like Tommy, with a reputation for being less than friendly, might do to someone who calls him out like that. Besides the whole theory about people wanting to control MJ offing him, there's another wild one. The Illuminati did it. Apparently, things started heating up in 1984 when MJ bought a chunk of the Beatles' catalog. Some say that move, along with a few others, made him too powerful and put a target on his back. Then there's the Black or White music video. Rumor has it, it was like a big middle finger to the Illuminati, showing MJ wasn't about to play by their rules. So, the story goes, they tried to take him down by making up some scandalous stuff about him, like him hooking up with children. When that didn't stick in court, they allegedly went to Plan B, getting rid of him for good. Now, if the Illuminati stuff sounds like a load of hogwash, there's another angle, the people after MJ's catalog. When they couldn't control him, they cooked up those allegations of him taking advantage of children to make him look bad. Then they rigged up his demise and probably used Dr. Murray to do the dirty work. Folks also reckon there's a whole lot of cash involved if MJ's death was a setup. Cause when he bit the dust, a bunch of people cashed in big time. Some even say they faked MJ's will just to make sure they got their hands on everything. But here's the kicker. Some folks swear MJ's not actually dead. There have been whispers of sightings, like supposedly a border officer saw him sneaking into Mexico. But so far, no one down there's fessed up to seeing him. Now let's not forget all the amazing stuff MJ pulled off in his lifetime. Michael Joseph Jackson, born on August 29, 1958, was an American icon renowned for his talents as a singer, songwriter, dancer, and philanthropist. Often hailed as the king of pop, Jackson's impact on global culture during the 20th century was immense. Across his impressive 4-decade career, his innovations in music, dance, and fashion, coupled with his widely publicized personal life, solidified his status as a towering figure in popular culture. Jackson's influence transcended musical genres, inspiring artists worldwide. As the 8th child of the legendary Jackson family, he burst onto the scene in 1964 alongside his older brothers Jackie, Tito, Jermaine, and Marlon as a member of the Jackson 5, later known as the Jacksons. Embarking on a solo journey in 1971 under Motown Records, Jackson soared to solo stardom with his groundbreaking 1979 album, Off the Wall. However, it was his 1982 masterpiece, Thriller, that catapulted him to unprecedented heights of fame. The album's accompanying music videos, particularly for hits like Beat It, Billie Jean, and the iconic Thriller, not only broke racial barriers but also redefined the art of music video production. Jackson's innovative choreography, including the legendary moonwalk and the robotic dance moves, became synonymous with his name. Beyond music, Jackson's impact extended to the realm of television, with his videos playing a pivotal role in the rise of MTV as a cultural phenomenon. He continued to push boundaries with subsequent albums such as Bad, 1987, Dangerous, 1991, History, Past, Present, and Future, Book 1, 1995, and Invincible, 2001. Thriller remains the best-selling album of all time, while Bad achieved the feat of producing 5 U.S. Billboard Hot 100 #1 singles, a testament to Jackson's unparalleled talent and lasting influence on the music industry. He's known as one of the best-selling music artists of all time, with estimates of his sales ranging from 400 million to 1 billion. He holds the record for the most #1 singles by a male artist in the Hot 100 era, with an impressive 13 chart toppers in the U.S. during his solo career. His impact went beyond music. He was recognized by 3 different U.S. presidents. Ronald Reagan awarded him a Presidential Public Safety Commendation in 1984 for his humanitarian efforts, while George H.W. Bush named him Artist of the Decade in 1990. Additionally, Bush honored him as a Point of Light ambassador in 1992 for his work with disadvantaged children at his Neverland Ranch. Michael's trophy case was overflowing with awards, making him one of the most decorated artists in music history. He holds an astounding 39 Guinness World Records, including the title of Most Successful Entertainer of All Time. He's won 13 Grammy Awards, including the prestigious Grammy Legend Award and Lifetime Achievement Award, along with 26 American Music Awards. His influence extends to various halls of fame, from the Hollywood Walk of Fame, inducted twice as a member of the Jacksons and as a solo artist, to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, Vocal Group Hall of Fame, and the Songwriters Hall of Fame. He was even the first recording artist to be honored in the Dance Hall of Fame in 2010 and was posthumously inducted into the Rhythm and Blues Music Hall of Fame in 2014. In 2021, he was recognized as one of the inaugural inductees into the Black Music and Entertainment Walk of Fame, cementing his legacy as an icon in the world of music and entertainment. In 1988, Fisk University bestowed upon him an honorary doctorate of humane letters, recognizing his contributions to humanity. 4 years later, in 1992, he was granted the title of a titular king of Sanwi, a traditional kingdom located in the southeastern region of Ivory Coast, showcasing his global impact and admiration. Michael's influence even reached beyond Earth's borders. In July 2009, the Lunar Republic Society named a crater on the moon after him, commemorating his legendary status. Back on Earth in August of the same year, Google celebrated what would have been Jackson's 51st birthday by dedicating their Google Doodle to him, highlighting his enduring legacy. The world of science also paid homage to Jackson. In 2012, an extinct hermit crab species was christened Mesopera polokellis Michael Jacksoni in his honor, underscoring his reach into various realms of human endeavor. Recognizing his impact on global culture, the British Council of Cultural Relations in 2014 identified Jackson's life as one of the 80 most significant cultural moments of the 20th century, solidifying his status as a cultural icon transcending borders and generations. Furthermore, World Vitiligo Day, observed annually on June 25th, coinciding with the anniversary of Jackson's passing, serves as a platform to raise awareness about the autoimmune disorder that Jackson publicly battled, shedding light on an issue close to his heart and bringing attention to the broader challenges faced by those affected by the condition. Sadly, Michael's life ended prematurely, but his impact will undoubtedly endure. Now, let's hear your thoughts. Do you believe his death was orchestrated? And if so, who do you suspect might be behind it? Share your thoughts in the comments below and stay tuned for the next video.